That's right, folks. Nick McVicker, Niko Giantsopoulos back with you. And Niko, it is a very, 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 very important day in Canadian soccer. First game in the Copa and going up against the number one team. But before we get to that, we got a full show ahead. So how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing very, 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 very good. Sound like you're trying to make the right numbers on an essay. Just filling in, Nick.
Well,
This
you got
is
to hit the
pretty
limit, okay?
first.
You got to get there.
I used to have a joke with Sergio Camargo because he's so grumpy and sometimes he just doesn't like to speak. And I go, like, it's like you only have a certain amount of words to say in a day and he uses them wisely.
That's funny because when he was on our show, he was great. He was always talking. So
He didn't shut up. Maybe that's why he's so grumpy. He's using all of his words
all of his words were being
during the
used
show.
during our show. Well, fair enough, fair enough. Well, Niko, we got lots to talk about because obviously CPL went on tour last week. You got to play in Kelowna with Vancouver against Cavs. Lots of fun there. We had big news coming out of the CSB deal with Media Pro. We'll get to that as well. And Canada obviously getting ready for the Copa, big tournament for them. But let's start maybe not in there, and we'll go actually to the Euros because that tournament's already ongoing. And it's been a pretty fun tournament so far. We're already into the second match day. Three groups have already played their second match day games, and we've had some entertaining games. Most of the big boys have picked up wins, but I've really enjoyed the tournament so far. Niko, what about you?
Yeah, the Euros, it always brings that little extra. It's like the World Cup. It's like
Yeah.
the World Cup, we got to wait every 4 years, at least here in GTA in Toronto, probably because the high amount of European citizens here. But Euros always gets the city going. Yeah, I mean, what do you want to say? It's a good tournament. I don't know what to say, Nick. I'm blanking here.
Well, let's get right into it, and let's talk about some teams that have kind of impressed us, and maybe some that have maybe disappointed a little bit. Like I want to get to the disappointeds after. I was really impressed with that Turkey. I'm blanking. Turkey Georgia match was probably the best game of the tournament for me so far, just from an entertainment standpoint. I thought they played fantastic.
That's a hot take.
I just thought it was a lot of fun. Like there was action the whole game. 90 minutes was all out running from both sides. It was just a lot of entertaining football. The talent might not be there from like a France or a Netherlands or a team like that, but it was still really good football, and I was really enjoying that match from start to finish. Turkey and Georgia both really impressed me with their game.
I think that's what you notice the most when watching the Euros is you think of, let's say, Georgia, like that's not a footballing country, and then you watch the national team play, like, oh, these guys are actually sick. Similar to how Europeans must think when they watch Canada. It's like, oh, Canada's these guys probably suck. It's like, what the hell? These guys are really good. But it's just so funny. So many countries in Europe and so many that if people who aren't soccer fans, some people might not have even heard of the country Georgia. They only think of Georgia down in the States.
Yep.
But it really shows these national tournaments. You're going to see with the Copa as well. It's like it just shows how the sport is really the world's game. You couldn't do that with hockey. You couldn't do that with basketball. Basketball is probably the next universal sport. Would you say?
Yeah. Soccer for sure. Maybe tennis. Tennis is a very universal sport.
Yeah, tennis, golf.
Maybe F1 because it's huge outside of North America. But I would say, yeah, basketball, out of the North American big sports, I would probably put basketball up there for sure.
Team sports, let's say team sports, then yeah.
Cricket. As we're learning,
that's
the US,
a good pick.
As we're learning, the U.S. knows how to play all of a sudden, which is very dangerous. If you're watching the Cricket World Cup, they've been beating teams that no one expected them to, and they're into the group of 8. So,
I mean, that's what I think. Just because we haven't played the sport in that long, cricket doesn't seem overly complex. You just got to kind of make contact with the ball. We produce some of the best athletes in the world in North America. Give us a couple of years to take cricket serious. I'm sure Canada or U.S., let's say U.S. right now, will probably take over the cricket game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that happens, but at the same time, it is surprising because it's the first Cricket World Cup that U.S. has been a part of, and I think they almost beat Pakistan, who's like ranked number 1 in the world. Like it was just a wild game. Anyways,
we're
Totally off
we're getting
topic.
sidetracked here.
Getting
Yeah,
very
sorry.
sidetracked.
Nick, for the Euros, who's your dark horse? I'll be honest, I haven't watched that much of it so far. Maybe because I don't know if people know, I also got a life and I got things going on, and
You're a
the
professional
games are all
player.
taking place. The games are taking place. Euros suck because the games are taking place during the workday while we're
Yeah.
on the field mainly. So I miss all the games.
Yeah.
I just look at the scores after. But the Copa, way better. We could watch the games in
Yeah,
the evening.
I'm very lucky that
Um,
I can have a screen on and have the game on while I work. That's one thing. My workplace has been great about that. There's like 5 guys who are watching all the matches at all times. It's great. So
Easiest job in the world you have. You
yeah.
watch TV while working. Nick, who's your dark horse for the Euros?
Okay, going into the tournament, someone asked me this question, and I'm gonna give an answer, and a lot of people are gonna be surprised. But let me back it up. Okay, my dark horse is Italy. And that's because a lot of people didn't expect a whole lot from Italy in this tournament because they're going with a very, very young squad. But that's one of the reasons I kind of like their squad. They're young, they're fast, and what they like to do is they like to counterattack because they have that pace. So if they're getting hemmed in for most of the game against one of these top sides, like we saw today against Spain, I actually thought Italy looked pretty good in that match. They ended up losing 1-0, but they were in the match all the way to the end and almost scored twice near the end. I love the young, and they have a keeper who's one of the top 5 in the tournament at the very least, but in my opinion, I think he's one of the top 5-10 keepers in the world in Donnarumma. And when you have a top keeper in one of these tournaments, you have the ability to go far. And for that reason, I had Italy as my dark horse. I still think they're probably out in the round of 16 or out in the round of in the quarterfinals. Just
What?
because
You can't say that.
well, no, just because I think there's some really talented sides in the Euros, and they're not going to have a number 1 seed in their group
They're your
because they
dark
lost
horse.
to
You
Spain.
can't say, but they're going to get knocked out
No,
in the
I said
round
I
of
think,
16.
but if I'm picking a dark horse to go deep, it's going to be them.
Then back them. Don't say they're probably going to get knocked out around 16.
I answered the question, and that is my answer.
Dark horse, fair.
Hey,
Who do you think's going to win the Golden Boot? You can ask me these questions afterwards, but you seem more locked in Euros now, so I'm
who do I
firing them
think's
your
going to
way.
win the Golden
Who's your
Boot?
Golden Boot winner?
Well, pre-tournament I would have said Mbappe, but he's missing a game now, so that hurts. That will hurt his
Busted
chances.
nose.
Yeah, that was a incidental thing, but it definitely was like that was a hard challenge. He went full in on that.
He's going to look like an NHL player, UFC fighter after this.
Did you
Also,
see
I'm
his
thinking,
mask?
okay, I want to talk about the mask. Yeah, his mask looks sick, but surely for banter. No, obviously everyone talks about Mbappe looking like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I've seen him wear like a Ninja Turtle mat.
Yeah.
If he had anything about him, he the first photo he would have posted would have been with like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. mask on.
Maybe the 4 colors on his mask instead, as opposed to the French flag. But
Missed opportunity.
missed opportunity. But yeah, the mask is interesting. It kind of makes me look. I know it's not Captain America because it's France, so it's kind of like Captain France. I'm just trying to have some
Captain
fun with
France.
it, right?
Yeah, I'm sure the French are gonna love that name, Captain France.
El Capitaine.
But still far off.
But
yeah, your
I
Golden
thought
Boot.
he was going to be my Golden Boot. Now I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't be
Give me a
shocked if
name.
someone like Memphis Depay ended up winning. If Netherlands goes deep,
Ooh.
I could see him getting the Golden Boot just because he's always involved with everything that the Dutch do going forward. So he could end up putting some goals in. And you can't discount Kane. If England goes deep and England makes it to the semis or the finals, Kane is going to be scoring most of their goals. That's just how it is, unfortunately.
You
So-
got to find the guy who's on pens. Kane, captain.
Yeah.
On pens for England, probably a favorite men's turn. That's a good pick. That's the safe
That's
pick.
the safe pick.
I like Morata, maybe.
Oh, Morata,
Everyone laughed in my face when I said that, but Spain
Spanish
could
team
just
looks
pop
good,
off.
man. They look good.
I think he's on pens as well. I could see Morata missing a pen, to be honest, but he's on pens at least, so it's a good little dark horse one.
It's a dark horse. I like it. I mean, I just need to see. They have a lot of attacking options on that Spanish team with the
They beat Italy
youngsters on the
today.
wing, right? So it's just a lot. Whereas, like, if I'm talking about England, pretty much everything in that box goes through Kane. I know they have Saka, they have Bellingham, but everything in the box somehow goes through Kane. Anything outside of the box is where the other guys are going to score. So it's
Yeah.
you're right. It's a long shot, but I like it. It's a good shot.
Someone from Germany, as well.
Musiala.
I just got a juicy text message on my phone. That's why I just lost my
Oh, no.
train of thought. I,
Musiala was the one that I would have picked from Germany. He looks electric so far through 2 matches for them.
Yeah, the thing about Germany is I could see like, I mean, they look sick. That's one of the games I did catch, and
The
I could
first
see
one or the
like
second one?
3 or 4 of those guys having like the first game,
First game. I
the
mean, it was
opening
against
game.
Scotland, so take that with a grain of salt.
They just look like machine. They
Um,
look good.
I do want to talk about a team that's been disappointing me so far in the tournament, if that's okay with you, Niko. I've been
Of
really
course, let me hear
disappointed
it.
with the English side. They have looked boring. It looks they have all these creative players in there, right? They have Rice, they have Bellingham, they have Trent Alexander-Arnold, they have Saka, they have Kane, they have Foden, they have Walker. Like all these guys are very, very talented and very creative with the ball. And yet, after they've gone up 1-0 in both matches, it looks like they're going into a turtle shell. They disappear. They can't make more than 2 passes. Foden looks lost right now. I don't know what that's going on there. Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend now that he's a center mid. He's still making great passes, don't get me wrong, but he can't defend for his life. Saka and Kane are getting pulled off before the 55th minute. Like, none of it makes sense to me. And I expected a lot from England going into this tournament, at least at the very least in the group stage. I expected a lot from them. They now have a draw and a win. So they're not even guaranteed to go through yet because they needed to get to 5 points to guarantee them a spot in the next round. That group is completely up for grabs. Like, that worries me. If you're an English fan, that really, really worries me. They're almost, not only are they not playing up to their potential, they're unwatchable right now. It was the 2 most boring matches of the tournament so far have been the 2 England matches when they played Serbia last round and when they played Denmark this round. And they ended up pulling out the win against Serbia. They drew Denmark today. It's been really, really disappointing to watch this England side, and I don't know if it's the manager, what the choice is when it comes to who's going where and what type of tactic they want to play. But man, it is awful to watch right now. They're getting results, but it is awful to watch.
You're fired up.
It's disappointing because I expected England to actually go deep in this tournament. And now that I'm watching them, they're not beating Spain. They're not beating France. They're not beating Netherlands. They're not beating Germany. I don't think that they beat Italy if they go one-on-one with Italy. Right? Like, that's 5 teams right there. So you're not even getting to the semis. That's not a good look for this English side who's supposed to be in one of their golden generations again, which they didn't win anything in the last golden generation. It doesn't look like they're going to win anything in this golden generation if they keep playing like this. It's really bad. Bring back the old "What's making Nick mad" segment at this point.
Hey, tell me how you really feel. Yeah, you mentioned Foden there from a player's perspective. Right away I thought it's like it shows how different playing in the Man City system and how a player like that can excel, gets tons of opportunities. But it's playing for England, it's a completely different system.
Totally.
Everything's different.
He's playing out of position too. They're playing him out of position. And they're playing Trent Alexander-Arnold out of position. And Bellingham's not in his best position. Not completely out of position, but not in his best position. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, if will they have a bad tournament like you're saying they will? Hand over your resume over to Mr. England over there and see if you get a job there. I think Southgate will be out of the doors anyways if they fail here.
If they
and
don't get a result,
slide McVicker right in there.
Yeah, if they don't get a result in this tournament, he's out. He has to be.
Well, if anyone in England hears your rant right there, definitely.
That guy's, trust me,
gonzo.
My rant is way less harsh than what I'm seeing from actual England fans who I have on my team, who are on Twitter, everything. They want him gone now. I'm like, there's no way. It's not happening. He finishes the tournament. That's just how it is.
Typical Canada soccer media, Nick. You're soft. Soft like the rest of them.
Apparently. Oh yeah, that's one team that's really disappointed me. I haven't really been disappointed by anything else in this tournament. I think every team has stepped up. We can talk about teams like Georgia and Turkey. Albania's looked really good in their 2 matches. I know they got a draw yesterday, probably the biggest result they've ever had in their first Euro as well. Ended up scoring 22 seconds into their first game. It's great. It's a great story, right? They've looked really impressive. Georgia looked really impressive, as I said. Other than
Turkey looks way sicker than Georgia. I watched that game as well.
yeah.
Turkey, those two goals that they scored were sick. I mean, it was pouring rain. That side volley swaz
Oh,
back of
so
the
nice.
net.
Right.
It looks
And then,
sweet.
but as I said,
You're hyping up Georgia so much. They ended up losing that game.
I know, but
Turkey
no
was
one
way better,
expected Georgia to even be in that match,
but lost.
right? But I
But
mean,
yeah,
they
yeah,
were
I
they
see
were
what you're
in it
saying.
right to the end, right? And then there was the empty netter, right, to make it 3-1. Probably a 2-1 is a fair result, but either way, all of these teams have been very impressive. England has not, and that's just disappointing. And Scotland, not really either.
Damn, harsh on the UK. Good thing the Irish aren't there. They probably suck as well.
I have
My
one of the
dark
I have the
horse
Irish jerseys, so it's fine.
and the Irish beard. I have my dark horse is the Netherlands, mainly because they just look so sick against Canada a couple of weeks ago. I love Whitehorse as well.
Yep.
Modern day Peter Crouch. Uh, I like your Memphis Depay shout actually on Golden Boot winner. That was a good take from you. I might sprinkle something on that. I like that one.
Not the worst option for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
We glazed Euros pretty well here.
Before we go on, I want to say one good thing. Feel good story so far of the tournament
Oh, yeah,
has to go to Christian Eriksen from Denmark. Last Euro tournament, Niko. I don't know if you remember this. 3 years ago, this guy died on the pitch. Right? Collapsed. He was announced dead, but like they resuscitated him, and he's able to come back. Goes in and scores the first goal of this tournament for Denmark. Just unreal story. Looked great again today against England. Like, just I love the story. Feel good story of the tournament so far.
Yeah. I don't know why I smiled and like laughed when he literally died
He
on the
died.
field. Right away, my brain went to it's like, dude, imagine Erickson was my teammate
Yeah.
and I'm just like slacking off in training or something. He's like, dude, I literally died and I'm training harder than you. It's like, fuck. I don't know.
But he did die.
Fine.
Not
Okay,
figuratively. He
that's enough.
literally
That's
died.
enough. That's enough.
Right?
Move on.
So, but yeah, feel good story. Let's move from one big tournament to another, and it's Canada going into the Copas. The roster was announced last Thursday, I believe it was announced, or was it?
There's been some changes since then.
Last week. And Zats and Brim go home. Ugbo decides not to join the team, so Ali Ahmed and Jason Russell-Rowe are in. What did you think of those decisions there, Niko?
Yeah, we kind of spoke about that last show. We said if Zats is out, Joel will come in. Not exactly how we envisioned it happening with Junior Hoylett going down injured.
Yeah, and I will get into that next. But
Zats out, Joel in. Good swap. I think Joel deserves a shot. He's been good. He hasn't had a chance for Jesse Marsh to see him, so good opportunity. Bring him in. Ugbo chose to. Okay, wait. Ali Ahmed in.
Ali Ahmed.
I like that addition. I'm surprised I didn't mention him last time. He's got something different. And when I looked at our possible wingers to come off the bench, it's like, okay, we were just looking at kind of Liam Miller or some,
Chaff.
Ali Ahmed off the bench. I think he could do something. I think he'll be given a chance in the Copas. Maybe like I think Ali Ahmed and Russell Rowe brought in, struggled to score goals in this window. He's okay, let's bring in a new striker. I think both those guys will be given a shot in the Copas. And as long as they're doing well in training, I think they'll be given one shot as a substitute. And then it depends for them to take that moment. And if they don't, then I don't think they'll show again. And then they'll just stay back as kind of fringe national team players. But that's how I can foresee this Copa America going for those two guys.
Yeah, I could see that as well. And I think based on how it was done, it almost seemed to me like Ali Ahmed was probably already on the roster, but they knew he was going to get playing time with Vancouver that weekend. That's why they didn't bring him in initially to the camp. And they wanted to see what Brim was able to do. It almost like they were giving Brim a chance and just weren't 100% convinced, just based on how everything played out. You know what I mean? Because he joins late in camp, is now part of the national team roster. He's available off the bench today. By the way, folks, yes, we will get to the starting lineups when we get to our Twitter watch, so stay tuned. We will have all that breakdown of both the Canada and the Argentina rosters. So stay tuned. If
you can't wait till then, hop on your phone and check Twitter. I'm sure it's posted everywhere. On there.
It is everywhere. But yeah, then Junior Hoylett goes out injured. Not ideal. Waterman gets added in for Junior Hoylett's spot. So they initially got rid of a defender and brought in two attackers, or got rid of a defender and attacker and brought in two attackers, and then an attacker goes out. So like, okay, we'll bring a defender back in. Lots of moving parts, but the roster looks pretty good. And based on everything I'm reading, based on everything I know about all the teams in Copa, Canada's not going to get blown out, which is a good sign. Will they win the tournament? Probably not, but I think they have a good chance of finishing second in their division based on this roster, in my opinion. They have Argentina is the number one team in the world for a reason. They're probably going to win this division. Overrated regardless. They're probably still winning the division.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
If you want to say,
how dare I disrespect them?
Yeah.
I'm Canadian.
The other two games, in my opinion, are winnable games. Not easy games. I want to make that very clear. But playing against Peru and Chile are both winnable games. They're not easy, but I think Canada could win. And if that's the case, then they're going through as the number 2 seed in the group, and they're getting into the knockout stage, which is a great sign for this side.
Yeah, all the best to them. Oof. So do you think who's better? Thinking of our World Cup draw that we had.
Yeah.
Croatia or either of those two teams, Chile or Peru. Croatia clearly better. You agree?
Croatia was at the time of the World Cup or now?
Not on stand right now. Right now. Who would you rather
now?
Right now.
I'd probably say Croatia's still better, but it's a lot closer than it was when they were going into the World Cup.
Yeah, I agree. They're still better. Okay, what about Morocco?
Oh, Morocco's better than both of those teams.
What? How do you say that with that kind of conviction about Morocco, but not about Croatia?
Morocco's going up. They're a younger side. They're playing their best footy right now. Croatia's aged out a little bit. We saw it in their first match in the Euros. They're just a little bit older, a little bit slower. So they can be beat a little bit easier. They are still a better team. The gap between Chile and
You've
Croatia,
been watching the Moroccan national team since the World Cup?
Yeah.
And they're on the up like that?
Yeah.
If you say so.
They did really well in AFCON.
I can't argue because I haven't watched the Moroccan national team.
Which is fair. I'm not arguing that. But that Moroccan team is talented. They are heading more up as opposed to Croatia, who is aging and trying to do a changing of the guard, which is tough. It's never an easy thing. But we're seeing it. Italy has done it. They're now young, trying to go back up to where they were before. Croatia will do that. I guarantee it. But they're a little older. They can be beat with speed. And depending on the right team, if you catch them at the right game, you can beat them. But I still think they're better than Chile and Peru, by far. Peru, for sure.
No problem. Ugbo. What's going on here? Why is he
seems to be taking a mental break? He got invited to the Copa. He was on the roster if he wanted to go. Jesse Marsch said he made the decision that he needed to not be around the team. He had a very tough year when it came to his club football. Was bounced around on 2 different loans across the championship. Played really well, but mentally it was a lot. So I think all that played into it. There could be more like personal stuff that we don't know about. Jesse didn't really get into it, the manager. So there's a lot that could be at play here. From what we know, he's just decided that he needed some time to himself and to reset and try to get ready for his club game again and try to just reset his mind, I think. So that's what we know.
So you don't think he's just sacked Canada off? It's like, honestly, I've come to so many camps now. You guys aren't playing me.
Well, he's played in a few matches. Up until this camp, he's played in matches.
Barely.
So
he's played not really any important
Not much, but I think a lot of it has
okay, wait. What I'm trying to clarify here is it's because stuff that's going on off the pitch. That's the reason.
From what we know, yes. It was a personal decision not to come, and it sounds like it's more of just trying to get a reset, like mentally.
Again, why didn't he get a chance? Why didn't he get a chance to play in those 2 games? I want to know if he's like a player. Like, what are the guys saying? I texted one of my buddies that's played with him.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yo," he goes, "Yo." I go, "Like Ugbo, is he a player?" I haven't got a response yet, but I think it goes 2 ways. It's either something's going on off the pitch and all that, or he's just like, dude, like,
And if
you
it is something
guys
going on
aren't
off the
playing.
pitch, hopefully he can get reset. Hopefully he can get back to playing because when he is on the pitch for club, he's looked very good, and I'm sure he will get a chance with Canada. But we don't know. So I don't want to speculate. I'm not trying to be that guy. I get what you're saying, Niko. It could be that he's just frustrated that he's not getting playing time with the national
I'm
side.
saying it's either way. I didn't know it was confirmed that stuff's going on off
That's
the
what
pitch. I just saw that comment that Jesse Marsh made.
yeah,
But that could just be PR talk for anything.
it could be. So we don't really know. So, but
I
he's
haven't heard
decided to be
Igupo say
away.
anything.
Huh?
He hasn't came out with a
No, he has
statement,
not said
he?
anything since that came out. So, another news coming out: Alfonso Davies named captain of the side. Stefan Eustachio, the vice captain. What do you make of that decision? Is Davies the right choice, Niko?
Yeah. D-
I'll play
I
devil's advocate
saw.
after that. Don't worry.
I mean, yeah, he is the face of the nation of Canada soccer. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up a tweet because I read Ollie Platt's tweet and I thought it summed up the captainship perfectly.
Okay.
Um,
Gotta love live TV, folks.
yeah, I know. Okay. It's to Eustachio's great credit that the decision was so difficult, but it's hard for me to imagine anyone but Alfonso Davies leading Canada out in 2026. Now is the time to trust, challenge, and empower your best player, even if others feel more ready in the moment.
Okay.
I think that's well said, mainly because I think he hit on some good points. Maybe Stefano Stacchio is right now in this moment a better leader. That's subjective.
It's
That's
totally
an
subjective.
opinion based thing. So maybe he is. Um, but how he said it to empower, to put trust in the face, and Alfonso Davies is the face. Why not? Now is the time. This is the
Sure.
moment for him to step up, and it's a brave decision. If Stefano Stacchio is as great as a leader as everyone says he is, and how I think he is,
Yep.
then he's going to be an amazing vice captain. And well, he's just not wearing the armband. But as for respect in the locker room, the vice captain, the captain,
100%.
it's the same.
Yeah, 100%.
And
My only concern.
he still has a huge role to
Yeah.
play, and I think he'll do that great.
Listen, my only concern, and it's such a minor concern that I'm not actually concerned about it, but it's something that I want to bring up and talk about, is that only the captain now can talk to the official. Right? It's always supposed to have been that way. They're now cracking down on it. FIFA has put in mandates, UEFA, CONMEBOL, CONCACAF, everyone has put in mandates that if other players are coming up, you're supposed to caution them. We haven't seen it yet, but we're supposed to. If I'm having one player, if you're having one player,
one sec, Nick.
Yep.
CPL tried doing that
Yeah.
last year. They had a full meeting. It's like, oh, there's no more surrounding the refs. Everyone's going to give a yellow. The first 3 games, everyone continued surrounding the ref. They were handing out yellows. And they're like, hey, this is ridiculous. The guys aren't going to stop. And everyone's going to be suspended. So they got to have a bit of reasonable. So that's
Absolutely.
nonsense.
But my point was going to be is with Eustachio, he's very calm pretty much all game. No matter what's going on, nothing seems to rattle him. That's the kind of player that you might want to go talk to the ref. Not that I don't think Davies can be that. I'm not saying that. I think he will be. But if I'm talking right now, you kind of want that guy going into the tournament being the guy talking to the official. That's my only stipulation of probably why I would have chosen Stacchio. They're both good choices. Davies, the face of the team. I get it. I totally get it.
Especially for the Copa, because all the referees are going to be speaking Portuguese. That's where Stefan Stacchio comes in and starts speaking. I see what you're saying. That's a really
and
insider
just the
point.
Calm demeanor as well just also adds just all of that together gives me a reason to make him the captain. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, Davies, the face of Canada, our best player, is playing out of his mind, club and country. I get it. I totally get it. Don't get me wrong. He deserves a shot at the captaincy. I'm glad he has it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. And then he also named Jonathan David the PK taker, so we're not having questions every time there's a PK. Right choice? Is that a cemented position now? Is it always going to be David?
Not if he misses the first one. Then
Fair.
I've always played with all my coaches that I've played with. We got a penalty taker. If he misses one, normally someone steps up. That's how it was at Cavs.
Yeah.
You missed it, the next person came in.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on, Nico, and we'll talk about the Kelowna game, which went off swimmingly. It looked like it was a ton of fun. Over 6,000 fans attended the Apple Bowl, huge crowds and fans and players alike. Everyone I've heard from really enjoyed the match. So I think the big question is who's next? Who's getting the next tour game? And then what does this mean for Kelowna moving forward, in your opinion? And you can pick whichever question you want to start with, my friend.
What it means for Kelowna? Oh, well, let me say a couple things about the thing. It seems like a great location to have a CPL team. It gave me Halifax vibes, smaller town community. We did plenty of events in the community. I was a part of many events.
Yep.
CPL, gave me plenty of great opportunities to be involved in those events. And you just felt while walking around in the city on the boardwalk there that people knew there was a game going on, and there was that vibe in the city. It's like, oh, we know what the CPL is. There's
Yep.
this professional soccer game. There's that excitement. That's good. You get that same vibe when you walk around in Halifax along the boardwalk. When even as an away team, you're wearing your Vancouver FC kit walking along the boardwalk. Everyone kind of knows there's a game. They'll boo you. They'll maybe say something quick or whatever. They know that it's going on. Same vibe of thing. It's not necessarily the same vibe in the Torontos, in the Vancouvers,
Right.
because it's just such a bigger market.
Yeah.
But I'm saying all this because you want more teams in towns like
Yes.
that, because
Yes.
you see the turnout. And again, they showed out. I mean, that's what the challenge was to people in Kelowna. You want a team to show out for this game in the rain, just like we see in Halifax all the time, pouring rain, and those guys are singing and jumping up and down. Town of Kelowna showed out. The mayor, everyone was there. 6,200 plus fans in attendance, mostly of them local Kelowna soccer fans. Great to see.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Being on the inside, and everything that I saw, I'm confident to say that an expansion team is going to come to Kelowna. I think
yeah,
there's stuff that needs to move, but
I got a trick
feels good
question.
there.
I got a trick question for you here, Nico, and I'm interested to get your opinion on this question. Okay, you're Kelowna. Would you rather a CPL expansion side or an NSL expansion side?
CPL.
CPL. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I think the NSL clubs will do well in bigger metropolitan areas.
Okay. Interesting. I like it. Yeah, no, everything that I heard about the game from everyone who was there was positive. So I'm really excited that it went off as well as it did. And I'm hoping I can't wait to see who's next. We could be seeing like a Kitchener, a Windsor sort of thing because they've been mentioned. Maybe Saskatchewan gets a game because they've had talks of getting a CPL side. There's so many cool places. Montreal or Quebec City, one of those two places. There's so many cool places. I'm really interested to see who gets the next on tour game.
The Yukon.
The Yukon. Which one's in Yukon? Yellowknife or Whitehorse? I always get it confused.
I don't know. Yukon though. In the summertime,
Yukon or
it's
Northwest
beautiful.
Territories. We get both of them.
Yukon.
Yukon. Okay. You want Yukon. I get it. All right, fine. But yeah, no. Positive signs from that. I love to hear it. And then from that to news today.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Before we switch, I just shout out to, like I said, I was there. I saw everything firsthand. This was a big operation for the CPL to pull off. I want to give, shout out to everyone a part of Vancouver FC. So this was technically our home game.
Yeah.
So all the ticket sales, the ticketing, the merch, all the food trucks that were set up, all the community events, that was set up by Vancouver FC. The boards that you saw, they packed a U-Haul and each weekend leading up to this game, the team, the Vancouver FC front office team was shipping out stuff, building, what you saw on TV, that stadium and everything. So shout out to them. When we were training match day -1, we had like head of ticket sales, everyone a part of the club on their hands and knees making picnic benches for, fans to sit in the beer tent and stuff like that. So shout out to all those people that played a big part in this game, and CPL as well. I mean, everyone from the CPL front office was there. This wasn't easy, but great success and good job, team.
Yeah.
Laura Armstrong, Stephanie Wood at the club. I can't remember everyone. The commissioner was there. Everyone a part of it. Well done.
Fantastic job. Yeah, I agree 100%. It was well
Thank
put
you,
on
guy.
event. Well put on event. And from that to potential news about the CPL as well as Canada Soccer, CSB and Media Pro agree to end their current contract at the end of this year, meaning that CPL and Canada matches are now up for grabs. So, Niko, I'm just going to read off the quote that the CSB put out, and it says, oh, hold on, now I got to pull it up. We are pleased to have reached this agreement with MediaPro in the best interest of soccer in Canada, CEO of Canada Soccer Business Mark Noonan said in a statement. With 2026 FIFA World Cup less than 2 years away, this settlement will allow us to continue delivering the best Canadian soccer content to fans from coast to coast as we build towards the biggest sporting event on the planet. So, that's big news. That's really big news because everyone was disappointed that CPL hasn't been able to get onto one of the major cable networks, and Canada games have been on just One Soccer because of this deal. Well, now the rights are up for grabs. Both the CPL and Canada Soccer have their rights up for grabs. Now we need to see who's gonna take it, or who's gonna bid on it, I should say, because this is a very hot commodity right now, especially the Canada Soccer matches because both teams are doing well. But the CPL is a hot commodity as well, in my opinion, and will bring eyes to TV. So, what needs to happen here, Niko, in your opinion? Does there need to be a bidding war, or does one company just need to come in over the top and just take their claim in it and take it?
Whatever will create the biggest number needs to happen. I'm curious how it's going to go down. Are they going to go straight to networks
Yep.
and pitch it to them? Or is CSB going to try to create their own network similar to what One Soccer did and then do a better job at collaborating and partnering with local cable brands? Is that a different way to go about it?
Great question.
So I don't know. If let's just say for the sake of the question, cable, TSN, Sportsnet, we talk about this every week. I feel like the big three is where you want to see it in CBC for Canada viewing purposes. I want to see it again on cable. I don't know. What do you have to think about it? That's the thing. It's hard to even comment because I don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as basic as, oh, who wants it, guys? TSN, you want it? Great. Awesome. It's going to be like that. I think it's going to be a lot more detail oriented. Like, are they going to sell the men's national team to a certain place and the women's national team to a different station? Are they going to try all do packages one? Is the CPL going to latch onto one? Everything.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great question. In my opinion, it's two different deals that now CSB is going to be doing. You have CPL, which is going to probably be comparable to what NSL just got, with CBC probably getting, or a market getting the majority, and then maybe a deal with CBC to do like big games or something, or the opposite, CBC having the majority with one of the networks taking some big matches, right? I think Canada Soccer deal will be its own deal, and it will be either very similar to what they have with the NHL, where both networks will get games and they'll split it up depending on the game, depending on the time. I could see something like that. Not obviously to those numbers, but you know what I mean, right? Like it's not going to be one network, in my opinion, for Canada Soccer anymore. It will be a deal between the two of them to share the games as they see fit. That's my
What
guess.
if all the networks come back to CPL and say, guys, there's no market for it. Like we're not going to give you money to put it on our platform, but we'll pitch the idea of if you want to pay what it takes to run your games on our network for a year and have a proof of concept year, we'd be open to that. If you're running CPL, are you taking that? Because to kind of inform people, it's like that's how the PWHL did it this year. They're on TSN and CBC, I believe. They're paying to be on TSN this year as a way of proof of concept to say, look, this is the kind of viewership we can get. And also, I'm sure it helps grow the brand. So if you're CPL and they offer that, would you take it?
I would need to know the financial situation a little bit better of the league. Just
Right.
right? Because that's obviously going to play a big factor. If we have the money to do it and it's not going to put us anywhere close to bankruptcy, I'd say, yeah, I would have no problem doing that because it could end up with a bigger deal after. I wouldn't want to, personally. If I'm the CPL, I wouldn't want to do that. But I could see the benefit of doing it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I've come to learn that I believe that's what the NSL is going to be doing with TSN and CBC.
Yeah.
I believe they're going to be paying for it themselves the first year as a show of proof of concept. I think that's the strategy they're going with.
Yeah, which I'm
So
not shocked by.
if Sportsnet, let's just say, because NSL has TSN, if Sportsnet will do the same thing back to CPL. If you're CPL, would you accept it?
Again, as long as it's not going to put us anywhere close to bankruptcy,
Which it shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
If the NSL is
right.
going ahead and doing
and
it.
That's why I said if, then you have to look at something different. But as long as it's not putting you anywhere close to bankruptcy and putting the league in jeopardy, I would absolutely go for it. I think that's not a terrible option.
Yeah. I don't hate the idea, and this could just be a pipe dream in my head that I have, of CSB creating its own soccer network and trying to grow that. It's like, okay, these networks aren't, but finding a way the CSB puts it on cable themselves. I don't know how that works, but making it easily accessible, getting it on TV, but they've created their own network.
Interesting. I would be down for that. Would be a lot of fun.
Bring back Gold TV.
Gold TV, baby. Let's go. That'd be fun. All right, Niko, let's get into Twitter Watch because we have about less than 20 minutes to get to our Canada Argentina match. So we got to get through this. And I'm going to start Twitter Watch with you here with a little bit of story about you, my friend, because you've been kind of busy recently. You know, you're on the poker tables a lot, and you seem to be doing well.
You want to go straight off the bat?
You had no idea what I was going with there. Eh?
I was like, what the hell? I'm in the news.
Look at this. This guy's just racking in the chips here, folks. Over the last
I'm locked in.
Look at this. Locked in. You've been enjoying it, I'm sure.
Dude, this is the first time. I've always played poker for a long time. It was the first time that I've put a lot of focus on. Okay, that's enough. We're just cycling through.
I'm trying to get off of it, but something's frozen, so I'm trying to figure that out. So.
Live TV. I love live TV. You said that earlier about me. Yeah, man. I've put a lot of time, a lot of focus on it, and I've been grinding the streets, having a bit of success. I'm on a heater. I think it's fair to say I'm now a semi-pro poker player.
Semi-pro poker player. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Not to pocket watch, but had a pretty good week this week. I think I made more this week being a poker player than I did a CPL player. I don't know what's that saying more about.
That's a great question. We can have that off air, but that's a great question.
Yeah, I know. That's not a podcast.
That is not a podcast situation. Let's get back to the footy talk.
This could have been the ultimate just jinx, and I'm just gonna go an absolute downswing. And
we'll find out next week on Footy First.
Yeah. I'm broke, guys. Been kicked out of my apartment.
Yeah,
poker's been real bad.
Here, Niko, okay, Ben Steiner didn't confirm, but brought up the fact that the Vancouver NSL team doesn't look like it's going to be Whitecaps. They're owned by the Whitecaps FC, but they will not be called Whitecaps. What do you think of that, Niko?
Well, I didn't even see that on Twitter.
That's why I have on.
I mean, an opportunity to try to capture the female soccer market a bit more. Maybe Whitecaps is just so associated with the male, and they're just trying to be like female dominant.
Fair.
So from a marketing standpoint, I could see the idea. If Whitecaps are cool of it and they're funding it, then
yep, fair.
Albeit.
Another CPL story now, and we're heading to Pacific, who had two short-term replacement contracts for their match this week. Both Daniel Zadravik and Callum Weir were signed to short-term contracts, two keepers, due to injury and illness, I want to say. Technically, you know a little bit more than I do, but yeah, it was a weird situation. Now, I will give Zadravik some credit. I thought he played decently in their match. It wasn't a perfect game, but he made a couple big saves for them, and I thought he showed out well for a guy who was signed a day before or the day of to a contract.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a little something about short-term loans.
Yes.
But yeah, good for these guys. A good opportunity for them. Yeah, I think Sean Melvin did his ankle in that Halifax game.
Yeah.
And then I heard Gazdov was like sick. We saw him in the airport, and I personally didn't see him, but someone's like, man, Emil looked like shit.
Yeah.
So I guess he was sick. Hopefully it's not
Was
too serious, and I'm laughing about it.
yeah.
But
Hope that's the thing. If it is an illness and it's not good, we're sending him best wishes. Hopefully he's back on the pitch soon. That's all we can ask for.
of
As
course,
CPL
but great
fans,
opportunity for these two
yeah,
U Sports guys.
absolutely. And as I said, I thought the keeper that was in their last game played well. Wasn't great, wasn't perfect, but for a guy who was signed that day, well, he played pretty good.
This guy's like famous in his hometown. One of my
Yeah.
friends is actually friends with him.
Oh no way.
And they were showing me they were having a watch party for him. And then the guy ends up getting man of the match and he gets a little interview on TV after. I'm like,
Which is
wicked,
so cool.
wicked debut for him.
So
Congrats.
cool. So cool. From CPL to Canadian women's national news, and not really national team news, but pretty cool. Kinsman Turf Field in Pickering has been renamed Jade Revere Field. Congratulations. She becomes the 4th women's national team player to have a field named after them, which is kind of cool. I think 7th overall Canadian national team player of all time to get their name on a field. So you got to love it. We're seeing our national team players get recognized, which never was the case before. They're now getting recognized for what they do, and they deserve it.
Yeah. Shout out to Jade. Kinsman Field. I was there when I was in grade 9 when they debuted that field to the community of Pickering. It was like the first turf field. It was like such a big deal back
It was
then.
huge. I remember that too. I wasn't playing in there, but I heard about it.
Yeah, and now it's now Jade's field. So wicked.
Awesome.
I'm
Gotta
passing
love
the
it.
torch to her.
You're passing the torch. I love it. All right. Before we get into the starting lineups and stuff, let's get to our games of the week because we do have the starting lineups for Canada and Argentina. But let's get to the games of the week. Niko, I want you to start this time. So you give me your game of the week here, my friend.
I got calves.
Cavs. I got the Cavs.
I got the Cavalry versus Atletico Ottawa. Atletico traveling to Calgary. Calgary just the best team at getting draws. They're gonna change that. That whole group can't be too happy with that. I mean, talk about no excitement. It's all about winning. I rather lose sometimes than draw. But yeah, so hungry. Let's see how Ottawa bounces back after getting their first loss as well. So for those two storylines, for those two teams, that's why it's my game of the week, and that's why I'm keeping a close eye on that one.
I really like that game. That's a good one. It's going to be very interesting to see how both of those teams play. I'm going MLS, and I'm going the matchup that is closest because Vancouver heads into Portland, which I clearly forgot to change the graphic. 1 second, folks. Let's get this fixed up for you. Vancouver is heading to Portland, though, and they're going to play the Timbers, who are one spot behind them in the West. So this is a tight matchup. This is a good test for the Whitecaps for positioning right now in that Western Conference. You need to pick up points for teams that are around you, and this is a great opportunity for them to go into Portland, who are missing a few players due to the international break. I know Vancouver's missing Ali Ahmed, but outside of that, they're pretty much all intact. You got to take advantage here. You got to go in and you got to pick up 3 points against a team who's missing their number one keeper, one of their backline guys, and a couple other players throughout their lineup. This needs to be a win for Vancouver, in my opinion.
If James Pantemis is healthy, big opportunity for him playing for Portland.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Niko, we are going to put the Twitter watch thing back up because it's time to go to Twitter and see the starting lineups for both of these sides for tonight's game. And let's start with the Argentina side here. And I'm going to read out their starters as we put it up for you. So you don't have to have it in front of you, folks. Don't worry. We got you covered. So in net, obviously, they're going with Martinez. No surprise there. He's fantastic. He deserves to be there. They have him listed as Debu. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't look like Martinez.
It is Martinez. Acuna, Lissandro, Romero, and Molina along the back line. Paredes in the middle. McAllister, DePaul in front of him. Messi playing in the attacking midfield role. And Di Maria and Julien are up front. And that's Julian Alvarez, obviously. They put a lot of their first names on here. Solid lineup for Argentina, Niko. Pretty much what I expected. What do you think of it?
Looks good. That Messi
Looks
guy.
good.
I heard he's a good player.
That
Let's
Messi
get to
kid, yeah, I
Canada.
did too. And before we get to the Canada side, I want to say this. This came out. Joshua Cloak tweeted this earlier this week. Marsh won't reveal who he starts in goal tomorrow. This was yesterday. He's happy with both Crépeau and Dane St. Clair. This is one of the lineup spots that Cloak is keeping an eye on, and for good reason. And, well, Niko, it's gone the way of Crépeau. Crépeau is your starting keeper for game one. It's the exact same lineup that we saw against the French last week. Crépeau is in net. Johnston, Bombito, Cornelius, Davies across the back line. Kone Eustachio in the middle. Buchanan, Miller on the wings with David hiding in behind Laren for this roster. I love it. This is the exact lineup that I would have gone with after seeing the two camp games against Netherlands and France. Niko, what do you think?
Let's get a 1-1 draw, boys. Like trying to envision this game. What's it gonna be like? I want to see an absolute highlight reel game from Maxime Crépeau,
Oh,
where like
great.
Canada goalkeeper YouTubers are just gonna be cutting up tape and just showing all these sick saves that he makes. Let's get a goal. Let's get an Alphonso Davies goal. Get that going. Anyone score really, but let's 1-1. Good defensive effort, battle, a grind. I think they'll outplay us, but let's get that.
You know what I would love to see? Anything that you just said. That was perfect. I want to see exactly that. Let's just
Right,
cause chaos.
right.
Cause chaos against this Argentina side if we can. Get a goal. Keep them from getting into the box. Because we have the bigger players in the box. We should be able to command the aerial battle. Let's just do what we can. No, like actually up front, they're not the tallest team, but they're talented. So if you can keep the ball being forced in the air into the box, you're gonna win a lot more of the headers. Just you should win more of the headers, I should say. Let's be clear. Don't let them beat you at the top of the box with skill, and you're gonna give yourself a good opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to see how they shut down Messi. Like that's gonna
You
like
can't shut down
is
Messi. You can only hope to limit
is
him.
Kone disrupt him, man.
Yeah,
You're the only guy that will be able to keep up with him physically. You know that I would love to see. I want to see a Kone. Let Kone be like
get
Conte for
stuck in, man.
France. Not even stuck in, just like
No,
you
I'm
got to
saying get
outsmart
stuck in.
Messi. It's not even about physically with Messi. Like you see the way he moves on the field, like he's playing a different game. These guys, like B switched on the whole time defensively. Like I want to see it
Yeah,
now. Messi, oh, you've seen in the MLS, this guy's insane.
he's
I didn't think he
incredible.
was gonna have this much of. You were gonna see how much of a higher level he's from. This guy's like legit a different being.
He's a different animal. Might be a different species altogether. He's so
Crazy.
good when he's on the ball. He can command the box. He can command the way the game is going. If he's on, he will control the entire match. And again, it's so funny because you look at all these like prognosticators trying to give their picks of what the score is going to be and trying to give all these numbers. I saw scores all the way from 5-0 for Argentina to 2-0 Canada. And I'm just like how is this such a wide range? I think people are having a hard time figuring out how good Canada actually is. And some people are giving us no credit and some people are giving us probably more credit than that the team deserves right now. If they could pull out even a 1-0 or a 1-1 draw, I think that is a positive for this team going forward for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 1-0 win?
No, 1-0 loss or a 1-1 draw.
Uh,
I think
yeah, performance is going to be very crucial, but 1-0 will be tough because we still haven't scored against a proper opponent
not
recently.
arguing.
So I need to see a goal. I need to see a goal. Anything but
I
a
would
goal.
love
If
to
we
see a goal.
score
I'm
a
just
goal,
saying, like if
chances.
it ends up 1-0, that's a positive for this side going for the rest of the tournament. That's all I was trying to say.
Yeah. I look forward to a time where that's not a positive sign.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Well, Niko, we got 5 minutes to the match. Why don't we wrap it up so we can all get situated, get in front of our TVs, and cheer on Les Rouges for this tournament. It's going to
Score
be a lot of
prediction?
fun. Score prediction? I have 2-1 Argentina in this.
Okay.
What do you got?
I'll stick with my 1-1 prediction
You got
again.
1-1? I like it. I like it.
Close
I
my eyes.
like
That's
it.
what I like.
I like it. Good.
It's my
So
fan prediction.
that's your fan prediction. I'm trying to go
That's not my
professional here. You
that's
got
not
fan.
my expert. That's not my expert opinion.
Not your expert.
Today I'm a Canada soccer fan.
Fair
Change
enough.
tats. Put on
Fair
my
enough.
fan hat.
All right. Well, Niko, always great talking to you. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for your latest footy news. We try to keep you posted all the time. You want to say something?
No. TikTok. I forgot that we're on
You
TikTok
forgot
as well.
TikTok. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. You're watching us. The button's right there. Just click on it. And if you're listening
Nick
to us,
does those dances on our TikTok. He does those
no, I don't.
trendy dances. That's so go check out that
No, I
content
don't.
and follow there.
Don't lie to the people. Don't lie to the people.
It'll get them to go on our TikTok and maybe hit the follow button.
Make sure if you are listening as a podcast, you subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. We will be back next week. Thank you for listening. We'll see you then.